Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. Today we continue our lab, the Mass Effect lab. This is the 8th video. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been preparing the previous two videos, our MBAM server with some prerequisites, some programs that needs to be installed before installing the actual MBAM software, which is Microsoft, the abbreviation for Microsoft BitLocker Administration and Monitoring Tool. So basically we have done this in the previous videos, previous two videos. The previous one or the one before this one, we have been installing the MBAM software, and what we have done in the previous video, we will have it in a simple graph. We have discussed before that the MBAM program as a whole, or the process of the MBAM, consists of three parts. We have the software of the MBAM, which is a normal software, and then there is a web server or a website that is linked to this software. So you can change a lot of configuration, or let's say this, you can get a lot of reports and a lot of data from the MBAM software using a web server linked to it or a URL linked to it. So we install the software. This is the software that we will configure the MBAM basic configuration, okay, and then we will use a website or a web server or a URL. Through this URL or website we will get the necessary reports we need, the necessary data we need. For example, as we said before, the main function of the MBAM software is to control and monitor and administer the BitLocker process for all of our PCs. For example, if we need to encrypt all of the, for example, 100 PCs on our network, and every PC contains two hard disks, C and D, so the MBAM software will be responsible for it. Okay, so after the MBAM process is finished, for example, if we have encrypted all of our PCs, the 101, both C and D partitions, we will run, or we can open the web server or the URL that it is linked to the software. Through it we can get reports by the name of the PCs that are encrypted, the partitions and their names that are encrypted, the recovery keys or the BitLocker keys. All of this we can get it from the website or the URL linked to the software. So the software, basically the MBAM software, basically it will be only for configuring some initial configuration or some basic setting for the MBAM to work properly. As for the web server or the URL that linked to the program, this is the one that we'll use frequently to get reports, to get data concerning our BitLocker process, the PCs, the everything. Okay, so this is a web interface and the software, and then there is the database part. The database part, it is where the MBAM software will save all of its data, and we will discuss it in 1 second. And then at the end we will have SQL reports, so we can through the web URL or the web server or the website, okay, link it to the software of the MBAM, we can get reports. These reports are SQL reports that will run or will get its data from the SQL database. This SQL option is installed during installation of the SQL 2016. So when we install the SQL 2016, we will install the SQL server module on it, or the SQL server program, or the SQL server option, so we can run reports from the database. Okay, so in the previous video what we have done, when begin installation the MBAM software, we just open our DVD that contains the MBAM software, and then we begin do a couple of processes. Okay, and when we begin installation of the MBAM software, what it will do, it will create 4 databases in the SQL database. Okay, one database called compliance and audit database, the other is called recovery database, and we have 2 databases for reports, one called report server and one called report temp database. Okay, the compliance and audit database, this compliance audit database contains data collected from computers the MBAM manages or the MBAM encrypt them. Okay, so the MBAM encrypts a lot of PCs, for example the 100 PC that we have talked about from one centralized location. So this database contains the PC names that are encrypted, the partitions that are encrypted and their names, and sometimes the IP and the name of the PC. So this all are contained in the compliance and audit database. So as soon as we install the MBAM software, it will begin in some portion of it will begin creating 4 databases. This is the first one. The second one, it's called recovery database. This will contain the BitLocker recovery keys, okay, or it will contain the BitLocker encryption keys. So this is stored in the recovery database, okay. Your BitLocker key is a 48 digital numeric password that can be used to unlock your system if BitLocker is otherwise unable to confirm for certain that the attempts access the system drive is authorized, okay. The key may be stored on your Microsoft account, okay. So you can after making the encryption, you can print the BitLocker key on a paper and give it to the user, or save it on a Microsoft account, or even save it in the Active Directory, okay. All of these are ways to distribute the BitLocker key or BitLocker recovery key to the user, but in our case we will save it to a database through the MBAM software, okay. So this is the second database. The third and the fourth databases are concerning the reports. So we will run some reports, for example, to get the PC names from the compliance and audit database that are encrypted, and we run some reports to get some encryption keys and what they are and how they appear from this database. So these reports will be saved in these 2 databases. One will be for the reports itself, and the other will be a temp or a cache database. It is its basic function to help this SQL database report or SQL report or SQL report server database. It will be used as a cache or a temporary cache for this database. So the main database that will contain reports is this one, okay. The other one, it's only a cache or a temp database for the report database. So we can see here that the report server database is a SQL server database that stores the following contents: items managed by report server, reports and linked reports, shared data sources, report modules, folders and resources, and all of the properties and security settings that are associated with this item. So it will restore the reports in this database. As for the temp, each report server database uses a related temporary database, okay, to store sessions to the database, to the report database, okay, and data execution and cache reports. So it is basically for caching reports, okay, and work tables that are generated by the report server. So it's a temporary database that store database from this one, a temporary store, okay. And background server processes will periodically remove older and unused items from this database. So by set up the MBAM software, we will have or it will create 4 databases, okay: compliance and audit database, recovery database, report server database, report temp database, okay. And after creating them, we need to decide which Active Directory groups will do what to every database. For example, the compliance and audit database, we will have which will have, or what users will have read access to this database. It is the group of MBAM database read only Active Directory group. And who will have read and write to this database? It is the MBAM database read and write group, okay. As for the recovery database, who will have read and write to it? It's also the MBAM database read and write group. There is no read to this database, it's only read and write, okay. So we will decide after installing the MBAM software. The 4 databases will be created, and the second step, we will define which groups will do what to each database, which groups will have read, which groups will have write, okay. This will be done also when we install or during the installation of the MBAM software. And then after finishing these 2 databases, we will begin working with the other 2 databases, which are the report server and the report temp database. We will give this group, or MBAM reports user will give this group read to these 2 databases, okay. So they will have read writes to these 2 databases, okay. And if if you need other reports. So this is two databases will contain reports saved. Okay, so this is saved reports are saved to these two databases. Okay, but what if we need to get a report from this database? Okay, so the one will be responsible for reading from this database and creating reports, it is the MBAM read only service account. So during the installation of the MBAM, we will configure the 4 database, or it will create 4 databases. We will assign read only group and read only group and read and write group to the compliance and the recovery, and we will decide, or we will put the report users, give it read access to these databases. As for the other two, if we need to get reports or run reports on them and save it to this report database, the one responsible for it will be the RO service account. Okay, so this is basically the first part of, or the previous video that we have done. We have installed the MBAM software and it created 4 databases. We have put or we give access to each database according to if it is only to read or to write to the database, according to the groups that we have created in previous videos. Okay, and then the reports also we have created, or we have assigned different groups or users to control what is to be done with these 2 databases. Okay, so how this will be done, or what was it in details, this we have discussed also in the previous video. First of all, what we have done, so let's go here. So first of all, what we have done, first we need to insert or mount the DVD of Microsoft Desktop Optimization Package. This contains the MBAM software, so we will click on the folder and then we will go to installers. Okay, and then we will go to the 64-bit version of it, because this is server 2019, or the MBAM server contains Windows Server 2019 64-bit system. Okay, so we will check, or we double click on the 64-bit folder, and then we will click on MBAM 2.5 Service Pack 1. Okay, and then in this folder we will see something called MBAM Server Setup. So we will double click on it. It will get us to the welcome screen, or the welcome setup, or the setup wizard page. Okay, and then we will accept the license agreement, and then we will click install. Okay, and then after that it will give us the finish. It is completely finished, and we have clicked to run the MBAM server configuration. Okay, we will uncheck it and tell him finish, and then we will install an update for the MBAM software. So we have installed the software that we have got from the DVD, and then we will update the software that we have installed from DVD by another let's say service pack or update. So we will install an update for the MBAM software. We will download it from the internet, and we will download this update. It's KB 43440, and this, so we will install these 2. We also will get the license agreement. We will get the setup wizard. We will accept the license agreement, and then we have the agreement acceptance, and then we will install the update, install the MBAM software update, and then at the end we will tell him finish and run the MBAM configuration wizard. Okay, we can run it also from clicking start, and then we have this. Okay, after that we will begin or we will have this initial MBAM or Microsoft BitLocker administration and monitoring tool configuration wizard. We will tell him to add new features. Okay, so by adding new features, it will get us to this page here. This is the part that we will create our 2 databases. Okay, or this is the part that will create our 4 databases: the compliance and audit database, the recovery database, and the reports database. So we will click on it. It says that the compliance audit database stores, as I said before, collected data from computers that manage MBAM manages, and it audits TPM and BitLocker recovery attempts. The recovery database stores BitLocker recovery keys. So we will click on them, and then we will tell him it will run some prerequisites or check to see if you are if the databases can be applied or can be created. Something called prerequisites. We are green, so we are ready to go. Then after that it will begin configuring or creating the databases. So we'll give him the SQL server name, or the server that will contain our SQL 2016 database, which is edmf02.mu.local. This is the server that have our SQL 2016 installed on it, and the web server that we will use to connect to the MBAM software also, it is installed on it, and the software of MBAM that we are working on now is installed on it. So this server will contain the MBAM software, the MBAM database, and the MBAM website. So this is edmf02.mu.local, and then this is the name of the database. It's not named compliance and audit database, it's named compliance status. Okay, this is the short name. Okay, and then we will decide which will have read and write access to this database. It is the group of MBAM database read and write. Okay, and which will have read to this database, it will be the read MBAM read only group or Active Directory group. So this is for the compliance and audit database. Okay, it is named here in the software compliance and audit database, but when you access the SQL database itself, it is named database name compliance status. Anyway, this is for the compliance and audit database. We will create it, and this is the name of it in the SQL, and this is the two groups that will have read and write to this database. And then as for the recovery database, we will do the same, but as for the recovery database, we will define the SQL server name, and this is the name of the database. It's called recovery and hardware, and we will have only read and write to this database. There is no read, it's only read and write. Okay, so after doing this, we will tell him next. Okay, so we'll tell him next. He will get to the summary. Okay, he tell if you need to export all what you have done in a PowerShell script, so you can do it later. You can do this, so you can export it as a PowerShell script, and this is recommended. And then at the end, it will give you compliance and audit database created and recovery database created. Okay, and if we need to make sure, we need to open the SQL Management Studio, and then we can see that we have two databases. The compliance and audit database, it is named in the SQL Studio or SQL Management Studio, it's called MBAM compliance status, and as for the recovery database, it is called MBAM recovery and hardware. Okay, so now our two databases are created, or our four databases actually. We have the report server and the report server temp, they are all created. Okay, and we have decided, or we have defined which groups to access these two databases, which will have read and which will have write. So we need to begin working with the report database or the report server databases. We should decide which also will have read and write to these two databases. Okay, so what we will do, before doing this, we need to go to the SQL database. Okay, the same, we have opened the MBAM, or sorry, open the SQL Management Studio and go to the compliance status or the compliance and audit database, and give the user, which is called read only service account, a read permission on this database. While we are doing this, I can get you to remember here, as I said before, if you need to get reports from this database, okay, it will be saved to these two databases which this group have access to it. Okay, but you need first to access it. Okay, so this is these two databases, this group can access the reports that are saved already, or it's created already on these two databases. But what if we need to create a new report? So this user will be responsible for reading this or accessing this database, read the data, and then save it to the report databases so this group can access it. Okay, so we need to give this user a read, okay, a read permission to this database. Okay, so that what this we will do, we will right click new login, and then we will assign this user to read from this database. Okay, read role. Okay, and that's it. After doing this, we will open the MBAM configuration utility again, and then we will begin creating or working with the reports. Okay, and then it will get us to the check prerequisites and tell him next. Okay, and after that, what we will do, we'll begin telling him that the SQL server, okay, its name is so, and the one that will be accessed, or the reporting, or the group that will be responsible for accessing this report database will be the MBAM report users. okay, and who will have access to the compliance and audit database to get reports. First of all, we need to mention the SQL server name, or the server that contains the SQL 2016 database, and then this is the database that we need to get reports from it. It's the compliance and audit database, and then we will tell him that we need certain user to access this database, okay, specific username and password that the compliance and audit reports will use to access the compliance and audit database, okay. So here we will assign this RO user or this RO service user, okay, and we will put the password, and then at the end it is finished. So this was our first part of working with the MBAM, or part 1 of installing the MBAM software. The second part, or the one that we will discuss today, that we need to configure the website of the MBAM, or the web server, or the website, or the URL that will be linked to the software, and through it we will do a lot, or create a lot of reports and get a lot of data. So we will go also to the MBAM configuration, and then we'll begin configuring the portal. So we will have, as I said before, we will have two the website will have two pages, one for the administration or for our IT to access it, to get reports and to get a lot of data that we need, and the other one is for the normal user. For example, if you are a user and you forgot your recovery key, so we have something called a self portal or a help desk portal. You just get it, and then you can put your recovery key, okay, or mention your recovery key, and then he will assign a new encryption key for you, or will get you another encryption key. This will be discussed in the upcoming video, don't worry. So we will begin configuring the portal or the website of the MBAM. Through it we will do a lot of things, okay, or a lot of things will be done, and at the end we will have two portal pages. It's called first one is called BitLocker administration and monitoring. Through this we can run reports, you can make BitLocker recovery keys, you can get a lot of data from this first page, or this website contains two pages. This is the first page for the IT, and the other one is for the normal user if he wants to get a BitLocker recovery key. So I just need to give his recovery key ID and password, and then he will get a key, okay. So this is for the user if he forgot his recovery key, so he need to get or to put his ID and his password, and then he will be given a key. This will be discussed, okay, or it will be done already in a video, so don't worry. So this is what we will do in this video. What is the details? We will discuss it now. So what is this, the details? We'll go there. First of all, what we will do, first we need, before configuring the portal, or before configuring the web server or the website for the MBAM software that will be linked to it, and we will use it frequently to get our data and reports. First of all, we need to go, and what we will do, we need to give let's discuss it here from this video. We need to give the username IIS service account and read-only service account. These two users should have the first one should have read and write to the compliance and audit database, and the second one should has read on this database. And as for recovery database, the ISP SVC or the ISP service account should have read and write to this database, and the read only service account should have read only access to this database, okay. So we can see it here from the graph. So here we can see that we have our MBAM compliance and database, compliance and audit database. We will have two users that will have access to it. Just a moment. So let's continue here. We will give these two users the MBAM read-only service account. So we will give it read-only. The MBAM read-only service account will have read to the recovery database, and will have read to the compliance and audit database. And as for the MBAM ISP service account, okay, it will have read and write to the compliance and audit database and the recovery database. So this is a very critical thing before configuring or begin working with the report databases, okay. And then what we will do after that? After that we need to do something, or okay, we need sorry, not the report database. This is a very critical thing to do before configuring the portal or the website for the MBAM software, okay, or the MBAM website or the MBAM URL. So this is a very critical thing to do, because these two users are responsible for running or administering or controlling the website of the MBAM or the URL of the MBAM. So this is the first step. And then the second step, we need to go to the user of the ISP, IIS, okay, this is the one responsible for running the website. We need to go to the delegation tab and then tell him trust this user, and then him use any authentication protocol, and then we will decide, or we will control that we need only this user to be responsible for running the HTTP protocol. So it's only will be responsible, or it only control the HTTP protocol, which is very important for the website to be up and running. So we'll tell him add, and then we will go to the add services. We will tell him users and computers, okay, and then after that what we will do, we will tell him, okay, to add this user, which is IIS service account. We will tell him to add this user. So at the end we will have this photo, okay, it will be HTTP, and this will be the MBAM user will be responsible for running the website for the MBAM, okay. And we need also to add the computer. So we will add two things. We will make this user responsible for running the website, and also we will make the computer itself, or the server of the MBAM itself also will be responsible for running this website. It will come ed.mf or edmf02, and then we tell him HTTP protocol, okay. Don't worry, we'll give it in the video. So we'll do this step. So at the end we can see here that we will have this user will have trust, okay, use authentication or use any authentication protocol, and the type of protocol that will be used is HTTP EDMF02, okay. So this will be this is the first step. And then we need to add my user or a certain user in the MBAM report users active directory group, so I can run reports. And then I need to add also a user to the advanced help desk MBAM group, so I can run this is to run reports, and this is the other one to get or to configure some data, or to configure things on the website, because we have two URLs, one for the reports, or sorry, one for the self portal or for the users, and one for the IT. By the way, so I need to have one user in the MBAM reports users group, so I can run reports, and the other one in the advanced help desk users group, so I can configure something on the MBAM software. So this is the third step or second step. And then at the end we can open the software and tell him to begin configuring administration and monitoring website and the self-service portal. The administration and monitoring website contains web services that enable BitLocker recovery key to be stored and BitLocker compliance to be reported. Use the provided website to view reports and recover drivers and TMP packages. The self portal, it is a website where and users can independently recover their recovery encrypted drivers. So we will click on this one. So we'll go through here, and then we go to that, and then we will get to the prerequisites, and then in here we will tell him, okay, here if you need to use HTTPS protocol to access the website or to make your MBAM website using HTTPS protocol, you can tell him or add your security certificate, or you add your certificate to make this website, or to make the MBAM website use HTTPS. But here I will not use it, and here I'm telling him the web server or the host name or the server that will host the website for the MBAM, which is the same server that hosts the SQL database and the MBAM software. It's edmf02.mu.local. This is the location or the folder that will contain the website, and the ports it will access through it. And then we need to tell him which user will be responsible for running this website, which is MBAM IIS. I will show you all. It will be the MBAM IIS service account, and we'll give him the password. So this is the one, or this is the user will be responsible for running the website of the MBAM and the URL of the MBAM. Or this one will be responsible for running the administration and monitoring tool portal and the self portal. Okay, so we will put it here, and then he will ask us to give him to give him the data, or because to say to him what is the compliance and audit database connection. So here we decide the compliance and audit database data. So here this is the name of the SQL server that contains the compliance and audit database, and this is the name of the compliance database. This is critical because the website will access this database. So here we are just referring, or we are telling the website, okay, where to get your or where to put your data, or where to store your data. Okay, so you will store the PCs and their names and their partitions. It will be stored in the compliance and audit database, and this is the name of the server that contains the SQL 2016 database, and this is the name of the database that you will store PCs on it. Okay, this is compliance and so on. So this is for the compliance and audit database, and the other one is for the recovery database, also the name of the SQL server and the name of the recovery database. It's named recovery and hardware. Okay, and then we will choose to tell him which two groups will be authorized to access the administration and monitoring website or portal. So here I give my help desk, or we have two groups, Active Directory groups, that will be allowed to access the administration and monitoring website portal. So these are the two. Okay, we will decide, and actually I put myself in this one because I'm an advanced help desk user. Okay, and at the end okay, we will leave everything as it is. This is the self portal, we leave everything to the default. Okay, and at the end, okay, sorry, and at the here, just so a moment guys, here we have discussing that the help desk or the one will be responsible for accessing the administration and the monitoring portal, and then we will click on enable TPMP lockout auto reset. Okay, and then this is the group that will be responsible for running reports from the SQL database, and this is the name of, or the URL for accessing the reports on the SQL. Okay, so it has a name. Okay, it's edmf.mu.local, the name of the SQL server and report server. Okay, and at the end we leave everything for the default, and then we'll go to the PowerShell, and at the end it is created, or self desk portal. Don't worry, at the end I will show you in the video how this is done, but at the end we will get these two pages, the one for the BitLocker administration and monitoring tool, the help desk. So this portal, we will have two groups that will access it. It is the MBAM advanced help desk group and the MBAM help desk group, or the normal help desk. So these two groups will only be allowed to access this page. Okay, and as for the other one, or the self-service page, this all of the users in our domain can access it to recovery their BitLocker key. We will see that in the video, but this is in brief what we will do. So let's begin. So I need to show you also a little bit of something here. As for the BitLocker, sorry, something here I need to show you all something. No, not this one. I need to show you all the overview. So here we can see that the help desk portal, these are the two groups will be responsible to accessing the help desk portal. Okay, and as for this is not administration portal, this will be the self portal. This all of the users can access it. Okay, so this is a way. We will show you all through the video how this can be done. So let's go here and go there and go to the MBAM lab, and then go to the, I think the 7th video maybe. Just a moment, I think this is it. So here we can go and begin. So here, just a moment. Here I have already my first domain controller, or the domain controller. I just power it on, and then we need to power the MBAM server, which is EDMF02. So I can just go a little bit quickly. So here what we will do, just a moment. So here we will open the console. Just a moment, I think we bit more quickly here. So just a moment. Again, we will go to the no. I think we'll not do here. Just a moment. Just a moment. I need to show you something here. I need to just to make sure that it is correct. No, this is not correct. Anyway, so we will go and what will just a moment. Okay. So here, if we open just a moment here, so here we will open the MBAM server configuration, and then we will begin configuring the new features. Here, as I said before, we will choose the compliance and recovery database. Okay, we will do this and tell him next, and then we will choose the configuration that we have been saying before. Okay, here is the name of the server. And then we will have it here. Okay, so here this is the group that will have read and write access, and this is the group that will have read. Okay, and then this is for the recovery database. Just a minute. أيوة حاضر. Just a minute. Sorry guys, this was the wrong video. Just a moment. Here, this was the previous one. So here we are going to discuss the reports. Okay, just a moment. So here what we will do, we will go here and just a moment. Here we will go and begin configuring the reports. Okay, add new features, and we'll have self and monitoring tool. Okay, we have done this. The one that was before was configuring the compliance and audit database and recovery database, but this was not the issue. And here, this is the this was the first part, and then we're administering this part. So here we can get it a little more quicker. So here we can see that we do not use a certification. Okay, and then we will use the account that will be able to access our website. The one will be responsible for running the website. Okay, so here is the ISP. Okay, Okay, and then the server that contains the compliance and audit database. So this website, if he needs to get or to access the compliance and audit database, he will have this information. This compliance and audit database, it is on the SQL server named edmf.meu.local, and then the name of the compliance and audit database named compliance status. As for the recovery database, edmf02. Okay, but you need to make sure here I didn't do all of the steps of the SQL database and a lot of things, but here I'll show you one by one. Okay, this is the help desk. So you need to do this, guys. You need to begin configuring the reports side after doing all of this. Okay, just a moment here. So I need, if you can show here for the graph. Okay, you can see that what I have been discussing, that to begin working with the configuring of the reports or the administrative portal and the self-service portal, you need to first do all of the steps that we have been discussing before, to go to the SQL database and give certain users right to certain access database. All of this, you remember that I have been discussing in the beginning of the video. This should be done, but I didn't realize this after getting some errors, but I will show you all. So let's go there. Okay, reports, and then this is the name of the report. So this is the group that will be responsible for running reports from the SQL database, and this is the name of the this is the URL or the page for running reports. Okay, this is called BTHD. This is a guy that have a wonderful video concerning how to configure the MBAM. So if you can see, after doing this I get some errors. So I because I didn't do a couple of steps, so if I now try to tell him next, I will get some errors. You just saw this, I will show you all. You need here to go to the SQL database and add the user of IIS service account and the RO account. I need to add them to a couple of databases. I said before, I need to give them some rights. I have discussed this in the graph. Can get it a little bit quicker. Go to logins. Okay, and then we will make a new login. Okay, and then we use the MBAM IIS user. We will give it read and write access to the compliance and audit database and the recovery database. Okay, I need also to give it the recovery database, but I didn't recognize it from the start. You need to give it also read and write. I already forgot to do this. Okay, so I give it only read, and then after that, just a moment, I think I need to do something else. So I give it read and write. Okay, so it's not only read, it's read and write, and then tell him next, but it will fail for some reason. Okay, so it will fail. I can show you all the error. Okay, I can show you the error, and then you have done this. Okay, I will show you that there is an error. We can hear that, we can see an error that has happened for the SQL and so and so. So to do this we need to do something. Just a moment, I need to go and no, all of this should be passed. Just a moment, I need to go something else. Sorry, so here we go. Just a moment. Here we'll go to the same user. Okay, and then we will give the recovery database also read and write. So these two will have read and write access. Okay, with RO properties. Okay, okay, read. Okay, and read and write. This is read also, so we have two read. We can see here, just a moment, you can see here that the read. Okay, so this is the ISP. Okay, read and write. Okay, for the recovery and the compliance, and as for the read, okay, it will have also read to the just a moment, read and recovery database. It also have read. Okay, so this is done, and also read for the compliance database. I need just to make sure for something here. Just a moment, I need to make sure of something here. Need to go there for a little bit. Just a moment. So here, just a moment, here, just a moment. So here what we'll do, just a moment, just a moment guys. So here, so we'll go to the user, remember this one, and we need to go to the profile or delegation. Okay, and make the trust, and then add. Okay, so remember this step. So we can go a little bit further here. So here what we'll do, I'll show you all a little bit of a graph here. I think here can go further. So here we can go and tell him add, and then the users. Okay, the MBAM. Okay, so we have add the user of IIS, and then we will add the computer itself. So we will have to go to the HTTP. Okay, you go and check the HTTP, and then okay, apply and okay. So here what we have done, just let me see you here, I'll show you all in the graph. For the graph, what we have done this. We have given the read-only service account read to the compliance and audit database and the recovery database, and we give the IIS service account read and write to the compliance and audit database and the recovery database. And then we have done something called trust, or we need to give this or delegate to this user to be responsible for running the website of the MBAM. We will delegate him to use or to use an authentication protocol, which is HTTPS. We have done this here from this one. So we have tell him to get this user and tell him to select users and computers. Okay, select users and computers, and then add this one, and then at the end also the computer, and then add this one. So this is what we will do, and then at the end we will get this. Okay, what we have here in this one, we have done it. Okay, so this was it, and then we need to go to the users and add a couple of things. So here okay, this is already. So here by this we can run the website, but I will not be able to access the help desk portal. Or okay, so let me show you what we have done until now, that we have done all of this. Okay, but without adding myself to the MBAM report users group and the help desk advanced users. Okay, I will not be able to access these two portals. I'll not be able to access the help desk portal or the self-service portal. Okay, so this will not be done. I need to add myself to the group, okay, of this one. I need to add myself to the group of, here you go to the group of the MBAM users report and the MBAM help desk report. Okay, so let's go here and begin again configuring. Okay, this one again, prerequisites. So here we'll repeat the same process. Okay, and then next. Although it is written in the website. Okay, so here we are doing the same. Here we're just filling the spaces. Okay, the user that will be responsible for running the website, which is IIS service account, and the name of the SQL server, and the name of the databases for the compliance and audit database and the recovery database, and the groups that will be responsible for accessing the administration and monitoring portal and the self-service portal. Okay, help desk advanced role and the MBAM users, normal users, and then we will enable TP lock and then we will add the reporting role MBAM and reports. Okay, and then the SQL Server reporting, which is the URL that we can access reports from it, mu.local/reports or report server. And next. You can see after that we are successfully able to complete the configuration. You can go a little bit further here. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so here we can see this. Okay, so now we have succeeded. I think now if you go now to the website, we're going now to try to access the website. Okay, just a moment, I need to show you all a little bit of thing here. I need to see something, just a moment. So here we need to do something first. I think we will need to go here and add it. Okay, sorry, go there and we need to access, sorry. Okay, so let's see here. We need to add myself or add my username to the group of the advanced help desk users. So I need to access it or to put my help desk users here. So here we will add a member. Okay, so we can access the help desk portal. Okay, so this is the help desk, and then also the help desk we need to add another user. And for the reports also we need to add someone in the reports. Okay, but this is can be missed. Okay, we go to the reports and add myself. So we have reports and help desk and read only. So I can show you all the graph, or I can show you the website of the MBAM. Okay, which will be these two. Okay, just a moment, show you a little bit of a graph. Sorry, no, let me show you all how it will look like. Just a moment. So here you can see this again. This is the one moment. So we can see here after that when we type it, after doing this, this is the self-service account or the self-service portal. Okay, and then we'll put my username and password. Okay, this is my Active Directory username and password. Okay, so it is succeeded. Okay, and then we will add the help desk. You can go again here. We will go to the help desk. Okay, help desk. Sorry guys, we'll wait for here. So here guys, as we can see, this is also, if we wait for a moment, we can see the help desk. So we can see that this is the help desk. So this is the end of our video. I have been discussing with you how we can configure the reports, and the upcoming video will begin configuring the policy or the BitLocker group policy. So begin after configuring the BitLocker group policy and the MBAM software is finished, we can begin applying or begin encrypting the 100 PCs in our network. Hope this video was informative for you all, and would like to thank you all for viewing.